There we are. So video 3, let's finish face to face. I was saying that not many people that actually go there and film them and talk about them do it for the best interest. And well, there would be a lot to say there, but we are not free to really talk. We aren't, because of many reasons. So I don't want my work to be even more ostracized in any way. So I'm not going to say anything there, but we are not in the freedom. We are not in the freedom to actually reveal what is the business and egoistical reasons why people sometimes approach, well, most often approach the matriarchies, or what they perceive to be the matriarchies, the societies that live still that way. They haven't necessarily made it to the books, because there are more than what we know there are. And I just wanted to, before I go back to the mozo, I just wanted to make a little parenthesis there. For instance, there is this, when there was the tsunami in 2004, in 2000, was it 2003 or 2004, I don't remember, but there was an island in the middle of the ocean there, somewhere between Thailand and Indonesia. I don't remember where it was actually, but I remember very clearly the article. It was affected. It was in the areas of the tsunami, and there was this island in the middle of nowhere that still kept by the millenary ways of their ancestors, because it wasn't interesting for the government to try and make tourism go there, because it was too remote. And so it didn't attract the attention of travelers. It's not an easy place to reach. And after this article, which I never found again, but I'm sure that somewhere on the internet you'll be able to find it if you look enough, because it was on the internet, so it must be still in the internet. Yeah, there was the story of this tribe that wasn't affected by the tsunami, because they knew before. They knew before because they are like the animals, and they know, they can feel. Well, we are like the animals if we remember how to be, but they knew, and they moved to the mountain to protect themselves. And I remember when I went in 2004, I went with my sister to see what happened in a place called PP. And there were videos of the cats who had been on the roofs. They had moved their houses to the roof like a week before, in order to, because they knew that the tsunami was coming. And why am I saying that now? I'm saying that now because, yes, I'm saying like the ones, the matriarchies that now might be trying to reach out to give us new way of living through the eternal ways of their living that are in the harmony of the unchangeable, immutable ways of grandmother nature. They might be trying to reach out, but they are not necessarily the ones that made it to the media. Like we have, to think that is just another way to perpetrate genocide, because we have this idea that everything to be real, you need to film it, and you need to prove it, and you need, but then you get living proofs that they carry these memories and they carry these ways. And these living proofs might be isolated people that are just trying to reach out onto us and trying to show us that these ways still exist, and they don't necessarily make it to the books and delegations, because these people might, to the ones that wanted to keep the ways are the ones that didn't allow the anthropologists to go in, and that they could prevent the anthropologists to go in, because if you go to Lugu Lake and you start reading the anthropological literature and start reading and hearing people talking about what happened in the Cultural Revolution, what did the government do to them, and blah, blah, blah. And this is again like a taboo topic that I'm certainly not going to put online because I still need to go to be able to travel there. But what really signed the end was the Han anthropologists in the 80s for the Na Mozo. In Lijiang, the Cultural Revolution already destroyed female shamanism and the matrilineal structures of the society, but in Lugu Lake, it didn't manage to destroy everything. What really did it was the anthropologists of the 80s that misunderstood the walk-in marriage, which is what I was going to talk about now. How do we apply power in family structure and society structure in our society? And then we will close with rule and order, like how they derive from that. And so how does it apply to the Na society, the power? We were saying that the Dabu is the most loving, so she's chosen because she's the one who cares most for everyone and will make sure that everyone will be first of all talked to. They will tend to talk as a family as a matrilineal clan, more like in the room of the Dabu around the earth, and that's where the family reunions happen and meetings, and they will have to agree on everything to decide something. So if there is, then the Dabu is the one that has the last word, and next to her is her brother. So if you think, does the woman decides everything? No, because man is male, is part of female. In the English word, you find that quite clear. Like, he is part of she. So he's regarded as a part of the body and as a vital part of the body. So he's next to her. She is first because she's the life giver. But it's not in terms of first means I crush you. No, because she is aware of the whole body. So you don't want to chop off your hand, do you? Because you need your hand. You don't want to chop off your throat or your body organs or your shoulder. Every part is necessary. And this is how they will express it sometimes. It was told to me in that way, and then I use always that example because it makes so much sense and it's so easy to understand that you need all your body parts to function as a whole body. So he's next to her and he's the second higher authority in the house. So it's not there is a hierarchy in the sense of who cares most, and for the others, who shows that they care most for the other. And the brother of the Dabu is always next to her, taking care of her children. He doesn't take care of the children that his seed produced in another woman. He takes care of the children of his sister. And if there is an emergency, the one to have the last word will be the Dabu, because ultimately she's the one who has most at heart the well-being of the whole family, of the whole clan. But then they will go back to the choices until everybody is happy with the choice and the decisions. They are not imposed, because they can't exclude anybody from the happiness of the whole. Otherwise, the society wouldn't be functional anymore. So it's very different from the society of capitalism, and I guess it's very, very difficult for capitalist societies to understand the method of consent that need to extend to really all form of lives. You can't impose. I wanted to talk, for instance, about silence. If you want to sleep and there is a lot of crickets there, there is a lot of crickets that are just being crickets and they sing all night, or there is these day crickets that I don't know the name of in English, and they are singing all day, and they're being the crickets. They're talking, and you are the bird that wants to sleep. You need to find a place where they are not singing. So and this is just another example that was used by someone else in another matriarchy to explain to me what consent means. Like, you cannot impose the silence on the nature that is doing her course. So there needs to be a way to find, because when I went as an adult after living for quite an amount of years in the patriarchy, we have this need of our space, of our sacred space, and that is a concept that they also have. But we don't really know how to negotiate our needs with the needs of other, our freedom with the freedom of other, because we don't know how to consider other ourselves. And I think this is the key of respect and loving compromise that exists in matriarchal societies. The fact that you regard other as yourself, you recognize that other is you, and a very important part of you too, without which you can't function, whether they are part of your family or not. And like the body that will find naturally the way to, sleep in a way that every part rests without hurting, like sleeping only on this side so that it hurts. Like, there is a balance, there is a way of finding balance if we start recognizing that we are each other, everyone is, then we will find the ways to negotiate our freedoms in a way that is not a compromise, is just meeting halfway, and that love. Sometimes it's going to the far shore to meet the other on their side. Sometimes they come on your side, sometimes you meet halfway. But there is this constant work that you say, oh my God, it's already so hard to do it with one person. But it's not that hard. Maybe if you just change your former mentis and you don't do it just with your romantic partner, but you do it with the whole community around you, then things really start to change and shift if you do that with everyone, with everything and everyone. So I wanted to talk how that applies in family structure and in the clan structure of the matrilineal clan. The Mozo, the Nap Mozo, they believe that you can only truly get along living with the people of your blood, of your matrilineal blood lines. And the father lines don't count. So they are not considered to be your, you don't descend from them, you descend from your mother. So what you need to find is your mother line. If you lose your family, you will be adopted, whether you're a child or an adult or an old man or woman, you will be adopted by the closer family to your matrilineal bloodline, because they believe that that's your people, that's your tribe. So you need to live with them. That's who you can get along with, because blood ties to them are like the laws of unchangeable laws of nature, and that's where your body will find the way to function harmoniously. And the body is not separated from the soul. So when I say body, you can think body, soul. I like to say body because it reclaims the physicality and sacredness of nature in a way. In this time of global ecocide, I feel it's important to talk about body and what the body does and how the body expresses the soul, really. So they don't have the monogamic marriage, the Mozo. They have the Zohan, the Zohun. I don't really know how to pronounce it, because I've only seen it written, and when they talk about it, they talk to me in English, so they say walk-in marriage. And anyway, it's Chinese, and my Chinese is rubbish, but I definitely should know how to pronounce it. They decide to, when a man and woman have a romantic connection, they will they have it, but it's not an exclusive kind of marriage where I promise to be with you forever or anything like that. It's a commitment to, they are very devoted in their walk-in marriages, but it's about walking together for the time that we are growing together. And then anyone can interrupt that at any point. Doesn't need to explain it, because it's the unexplainable how love and attraction function and come and go. So it doesn't create hard feelings, or it might for a while, but they don't really encourage these hard feelings, and they continue to live as a community. So anyone can interrupt this liaison, and they will just say it and walk off. But then they will continue to live as a community, and it won't affect the children, because the children live with the mother, with the grandmother, and the father of these children, like the biological father of these children, can come and see them, can spend time during the day with them, can bring them present, but is not responsible financially for them or emotionally, because he's responsible for the children of his sister. So in a way, children have two fathers, the biological father, who does come into their life if he has a relationship with the mother, and the uncle, that is the actual father figure there. I mean, father is an incorrect word, because it's our word, it's not their word. But it's this male figure. They have two, the biological father and the uncle, that is the stable one in the house. And in this way, children are not affected by the instability of a relationship that is based on the heart, which is the most unstable organ in our body, really. It's sometimes I talk about heart shamanism, and this is much more complex, and I won't go there in any depth. But heart shamanism is embodied the imbalance of the heart, and it's like this walker on the rainbow, balancing time, because time is the space of memory, which is the space of the heart. So the shaman of the heart is the timekeeper, and holds the mysteries of time and the mysteries of the balance in the imbalance as well. So there is an awareness in Eurasian shamanism which touches my research here, about this instability of the heart, this imbalance of the heart that is in constant, it's always thinking, it's always active, and it's always trying to fulfill something, the heart, isn't it? So it's a place out of balance without the womb that is the maternal line. And the way in which the womb and the moon in these cultures is both male and female. Is male is young in the sense, or better maybe I should say female, is both fe and male, is both yin and yang, because it's the idea of containment of the imbalance. So how do we contain the imbalance? We keep the children with the moon, that is the unchangeable tie of the unchangeable law of the tide, and the unchangeable law of the blood line, and the rhythm, the stability of these rhythms that continue and are stable. So they don't produce psycho vulnerable people, because the children have this stability, and people have this stability in this way of the maternal clan. The woman is not responsible like in patriarchal society. I remember once I was in this restaurant with my stepmom, and this guy said, "Oh, now there are not the families anymore as they used to be, because the woman is not doing her job to keep the family together anymore." And my stepmom, who is an ex-radical feminist, was very mad, and she got into a fight with him. But it's true that the woman is often the one as the most vulnerable part in society and in the couple, because it's still very true that we are not treated equally as people. We're not. So there is still very much that. You might not feel it in England so much, and although I do feel it, because I have lived in places where woman is really treated as sacred, and everything that comes from woman is sacred, so it's never shamed or diminished or stopped or contained or controlled in any way. But from a politically correct and educated point of view, I guess here in the UK there is more respect for women, and more recognition for her skills and her arts than there is anywhere else. In Italy, I mean, I'm comparing these two countries because in Europe it's the countries where I lived more. But there isn't the sense of the sacred of the woman, or how the woman is the earth, or how the woman is the keeper of the unchangeable ways of the moon, and of the cycles of the moon. and of the cycles of the matrilineal clan that is following the cycles of the moon, and of the sun, the moon that is linked to the sun. But the moon is the dictator of the tides through the solar light, but she is the dictator of the tides, and of the rhythms of life, of the harvest and of the cycles of light. And it's the in-betweener between the sun that is source and the human life. She's the in-betweener and she is the bridge. So it's vital. Her role is vital in matriarchal societies that follow these ancestral laws. So you will never find unhappiness to the extent in which people can't function and can't find like a stable rooting, because they are rooted in the matrilineal clan, and the relationships that are connected to the solar chakra, that is the heart, in all its instability, they are still balanced, because they are not full of the responsibilities that are distributed equally in the matrilineal clan. So there is also something very important to note. There isn't gender roles in our society. You might find, if you just interview one family, that one family will say, oh, the woman is cooking more. Because I had someone telling me that in one family in Luoshi, that is, by the way, the most influenced by the Han Chinese and by tourism and globalization, because it's a highly touristic village. But if you actually spend enough time on field investigation, you find that men do cook and clean, and in some family they clean and cook more than women. So there isn't gender roles. There is the only gender role that I find in here, like in every matriarchy, is the men will do the heaviest jobs, like constructions, or to do with cutting wood, or these kind of work that is heavier on the body. It's handled by man, by the one that doesn't hold the womb, moon. So but other than that, everything is distributed. They do the works together in the fields, they do the works in the house, and the man is very much in touch with his what you would call the feminine side. They're very nourishing. I was I had the beautiful experience of being courted by a man, and what he was doing, he was feeding me. The first thing that he did, he was taking me to have breakfast, and when I was eating, he was preceding me, which is something that now women do. Like if you eat with them, they will notice what you like to eat or drink, and they will constantly pour your tea and be very attentive to you. They precede what you need, because they are very much in the listening, and so are the men. And that was what he was doing. He was pouring my tea and making sure that I was fed. And I just find that really lovely and endearing, how there is societies that they have still this receptive capacity, whether you're male or female, to really take care of life. And that's the true sense of power. Originally, like in the roots of the word, there is that as well, as we have partially seen. And there would be a lot more to say, but we already did 1.5 hours of introduction on the Na, so I'm going to stop there. And I invite you to read my paper. Bye.